For today's installment of DIY Enlightenment, a series where I, Lumi, your friendly neighborhood metaphysical savant, share all of the bits and pieces of things, tools, information, practices that I have implemented to take my life from literal chaos and train wreckery to happy, healthy, balanced human. Remember, everything really boils down to two simple steps. One, calm your body down, and two, look within. And so everything that I'm saying is going to be something that will help you to be able to do those things. Because enlightenment isn't really that complicated. We've made it into this great big thing, as we tend to do as humans. You know, using the brain makes things way more complicated, but I digress. Today I wanted to talk about your relationship with your emotions and feeling things. And if that makes you uncomfortable, this is for you, okay? As a late diagnosed autistic female who came from a family of not very expressive, also autistic individuals who didn't really spend a lot of time together, I had to learn how to express emotions safely. Also, this is a safety thing as well, right? So in our society, it is not safe to be vulnerable. We have to be tough and strong and happy. Also, toxic positivity is a thing that we see a lot of, even in the spiritual community, where it's only love and light, be happy and good. You gotta be high vibe kind of idea, right? Just suck it up, right? Whether you're spiritual or not. It's not socially condoned to have negative emotions, and that is a problem. Your emotions are literally energy in motion. Did you know that in psychology, it's not actually an agreed upon definition of what an emotion is? But from my understanding of studying psychology and all of his other metaphysical stuff, is that it's basically a combination of a physiological and an energetic response. Okay, so there's a very real physiological in your body response to an emotion. Depending on the emotion, it either opens you up, it makes you more curious and spacious, or it closes you off and puts you into sympathetic nervous system response where all your resources are contracted. I made a whole video on the differences between the branches of your nervous system also, if you want to check out the earlier videos in the series. But then there is also the energetic component of that. The different layers to our aura correspond with the chakras in our body. And so typically your emotions are in the emotional or causal body. And depending on the intensity of the experience, they can sometimes just go to the emotional because it is too much for the brain to process, especially if you've experienced something really traumatic. The emotions around that are going to be stunted by the brain to prevent you from being overwhelmed by it on a physiological level. But then also societally, we are conditioned to wrap that shit up and hold it in. But it has to go somewhere. It's energy in motion, okay? So when you wrap it up and don't express it, no matter what it is, and it doesn't have to be a traumatic event. It literally micro traumas, little T's, okay? Just not speaking your truth, not expressing yourself when you're sad about something, telling yourself that you need to cheer up, constantly trying to feel better about whatever it is, not giving yourself the time to sit in the depth of that feeling is gonna cause it to be stuffed into your emotional and causal bodies, and it stays there unconsciously influencing your current day behavior. The natural cycle of an emotion is only 90 seconds if there's no story attached to it and it's allowed to move through you, okay? So if you're feeling something longer than a couple of minutes, it's because it's not being allowed to be expressed fully, or there's a mental story that is reinforcing the illusion of separation and some sort of condition that is making you feel worse about it than it needs to be. So a couple of my favorite techniques to be able to allow the floodgates to open and express these emotions in a way that helps me to move it through my system is movement, okay? So ecstatic dance is one of my favorite practices. I actually have a couple of playlists that I've made up, different dance arcs. So if you're interested in that, send me a DM. They're posted in my Discord, or you can just join the Discord and find them yourself. So ecstatic dance is a great way because your synovial fluid in your body is like nectar. And so moving that intentionally helps to move the physiological aspects, will then allow you to process and express the emotions. Then also not stunting yourself when it comes through, not feeling embarrassed to ugly cry and let that shit out when it happens. Like right on cue, like the garbage trucks at my building are coming. Like they're taking out the garbage, okay? Like you're getting rid of that shit. Breathwork is another thing that you can do if you find an experienced breathwork practitioner to lead you through a series of different sequences that you can do that can have a similar type of release. Or also music and singing. And the reason I'm making this video today is because I actually had an experience with this yesterday. I went to the beach. You can see my nose is a little bit red because I refuse to wear sunscreen. But on the way to the beach, I decided to listen to an old album from back in my angsty youth era, and my teenage daughter has recently got into a lot of 90s and 2000s alternative and metal that I used to listen to, and so I put on System of a Down's album, like Steal This Album, and it's just like a masterpiece. And I was like singing my heart out driving to the beach, and when I got to Ego Brain, something just cracked in me, and I started crying. And like I've been moving through a lot of stuff recently, and stepping into a new version of myself, so I was like grieving old versions of myself, and it really just brought me back to the pain and angst that I felt during that period of my life. And so I literally pulled over and cried because I was like, okay, this is my opportunity. Anytime the floodgates open for me, I run with it. I just let it go. And I felt so much better afterwards. So let me know in the comments how that lands for you. Now, if you are somebody who is quite stunted emotionally or really wound up tight, this is going to be a process, and this is why you don't just jump right into this. I mean, you can. There's no hard and fast rules about any of this, but calm your body down and learn how to train your attention inwards, and those two things will help you to feel safe to be able to release these emotions, right? Because if you don't feel safe, bringing up old emotions is gonna make you feel less safe, right? So making sure that you're doing the best that you can to help your body be more calm and develop your intimacy with divinity, because part of the reason why it's easy for me to release this stuff now is because I've spent so much time developing that connection. Ultimately, I know that I am source, that I'm directly connected to the oneness, and everything is really just a game in the long term of it, right? Like everything's a paradox. So anywho, I feel like I'm making this one a bit more convoluted than it needs to be. So check out the other videos in my series. Let me know how this one lands, and stay tuned for more videos on this topic.